What's going on, yo? It's your boy Jerald Lucas here alongside Derik Abbott. And the third member of
What's
our
up?
host had to go get something to drink, Ty Fisher. What's going on with you, Derek?
Nothing. All my sports teams have been playing very well recently. So not great, but in general can't complain. How about you?
Not too bad. And as you could tell, we do have a familiar face that finally is on coming in away from a hiatus from media. Ty Fisher. What's going on there, buddy?
I, Derek, I think you missed this part. I forgot how all this works. I was trying to talk and see if I could hear myself, and I couldn't. So I went to figure out what
Oh
was
my
wrong, and
gosh, not that again.
I realized my headphones weren't plugged into the mic. So if that's
Dang, 1 week off and this dude's forgotten everything.
if that's any consolation on how long I've been away, that's definitely the telltale sign.
Honor, welcome. You know, we only got a couple more shows left. This one and next week. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a
Wait a
new
minute,
live
wait a
episode.
minute. Hold on now. Not true. We would have to do one after the playoff game.
Yeah, after we lose to Chicago like we did on Saturday. Yeah, sure.
Okay, guys, we'll get to it. All right, we'll
Look,
get to it.
I was always a voice of reason, and now I'm the negative Nancy.
I didn't expect this from you, Ty. I did not expect this from you. I will say, Jerald, yes, me 50-50. You, I thought was going to be on the top of the rankings of positivity, but wow.
I said we were going to lose. I said a 3-2, but I said we were going to lose. But hey, we're jumping right in and ripping the Band-Aid off. Columbus goes into Chicago to the Windy City and gets Berhaltered at a Soldier Field. Your thoughts, Ty?
Is it bad that after which goal was it? When Kuiper's goal got taken off, the first one. Is it bad that I kind of tuned out and just started watching baseball or what was I watching? I was watching something else and just started watching TikTok on my phone. Is it bad?
No.
Okay. I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like it's one of those games where we were just happy to still be there. Right. Yeah, we clinched playoffs by Red Bulls losing to New York City, but I think it's more so of, can we at least muster something up and get through the wild card round and whatnot. But that game was a snooze fest, just like every other one has been since the win against DC United. So yeah, I think the decline is just it's here. It's hitting us at the wrong time. And all we can do is just put our best foot forward, pray for the best, come back healthier next year, and yeah, at least say, hey, we've made the playoffs 3 consecutive times under Wilfred Nancy.
4.
There we go. That's a little positivity there.
Well,
This is third year.
Yeah.
See, Gerald's optimistic. Gerald's like, yeah, we're gonna make the playoffs next year. I like that. Because I think we will also.
I would agree with that.
Wait till you have to hear the next question I'm gonna ask you after Derik. Derik, what went wrong?
Everything.
Well, first, what went wrong is that this wasn't a wrong thing. I was at a friend's birthday party, so I was in a backyard when we didn't have a TV, so I was checking updates online and everything during the game, and then a bit of tortured myself to watch a little bit of it back the next day, which didn't really glean anything exciting. I missed nothing exciting, clearly. I mean, I don't even know that there's like a what went wrong as much as we really stayed true to form of recent play. Like there was nothing better about what I was seeing than what we did previous weeks, regardless of who's been in, out, injured, all of the above. Go for it, Ty.
Go ahead, Ty.
Everything went wrong, Derik. That's the part that you're missing. Everything went wrong.
No. I'm not saying that everything didn't go wrong. I'm just saying what I saw was very much the exact same of what it's been before, which is not good. So I mean, I'm phrasing it differently, but very much there was nothing like there was no positives I saw. How about that? I don't want to go necessarily everything was wrong because we've been saying that for a few weeks now. That I didn't see any kind of improvement, but I don't know that I expected to necessarily. I'd hoped that we would, but we didn't. We didn't see any improvement.
Fun fact: this was Chicago's first win against us since 2021. So there's that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I think what went wrong was the lineup. And I say the lineup every time, we've been at home. I tell, Ty, like, I like this lineup. I'm so on this lineup. You got your two top strikers, Ali and Rossi out, right? Why the fuck are you not gonna put another striker in?
Yeah, yeah, we had like no 9.
We talked about that last week.
Then the first sub that you put in is fucking Aliu.
Your guy. Nancy is trolling you at this point.
He probably is. But like, why wouldn't you put in Jason, who opened the year against Chicago and was sitting there manhandling Chicago, and had, I think, 1 or 2 goals against Chicago to open the season?
Yeah,
it might have been. He might have been had 1 goal, but every time he's played Chicago, it's like Chicago and Cincy. He gets 1 or 2 goals, right? And why not have a damn number 9 out there? Instead, you throw Hugo, Dylan, Nagby, and it's just like, if you're gonna do that, you have to have, I would have played Dylan and Nagby with Jason out there.
Jason had 1 in the 20th minute.
Okay, but he's found the back of the net against.
Yeah, still a goal. Yeah,
found the back of the net against Chicago and Cincinnati the most that he's played against, right? And Atlanta. Can't forget about Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But like, seriously, like, what are you doing with the lineup? You always say that, it's hard as a coach with the players that we have, but you don't seem like you trust the players that you have. If you're not, it just seems like if you're not a DP, if you're not getting, 5 million spent on you, 8 million spent on you, 10 million spent on you, it doesn't look like, you have, you trust the players around, right? And it goes to me, Derik. I'm going to give this question to you. Do you think, outside of Ali coming in and making an impact, but Sean Zawaski's injury, do you think that is a crucial factor in some of the way that Columbus is playing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's somebody who could fill a lot of gaps in these injuries, in these scenarios. If we had him, we could move. He was the one guy, and we talked about this last week, about like moving guys around and like not playing them in just one position in some cases. I think he's a guy that could fill in a lot of gaps in certain areas that now you don't have that. So now you've got to start moving around other people that's a little more unnatural for them or whatever it may be. But I think that was a catalyst. I think I said it last week. I'll say it again. I think Mo Farsi being out played is a big problem when it comes to, he's reliable to get the ball up on the right side because they almost always looked at him to bring it up on the right side. And I think that has caused a big issue for the rest of the attacking side. Whoever you put up there, at least he's going to get the ball up there and a chance to get it into the box. But now we're moving players around. If we can't, and not to say that we should be able to predict the lineup every single week, but literally every week you see you can guarantee there's going to be 1, 2, 3 different players in it than maybe what you initially thought. Or like you mentioned, subs off the bench. Like even if Zawaski didn't start, he'd be one of the first ones off the bench to then be able to move people around and adjust to what's going on out there. Now every time it's like, no, because we don't have a striker, we're moving people in, shuffling people around immediately in the formation. Just seems like it's a lot of reactionary moves, and you're not always going to get the right, Nancy feels like somebody who 9 times out of 10 it has been making adjustments that end up working. But in the past few weeks, in the substitutions or even the starting lineups, it's not been working. And I think we'll get to a topic on why that is the case in a little bit. But in general, yeah, I mean, I think those two are the biggest catalysts. Like you could afford to lose one striker or maybe 2 strikers in this scenario, but you've got all the other injuries that now it's falling apart. It feels like it's falling apart. I don't know too many people who would disagree with that outside of the organization.
So this question to you, Ty, and this is a big one. And Derik, after Ty answers, you can chime in too. But
I have no idea what it's going to be. Honestly,
do you think Nancy's the right
coming
coach?
in hot?
Do you think right now, seeing what's going on, do you think Nancy is the right fit for Columbus with an evolving league? And do you think that he's lost the locker room? Because you see, Connor saying that players look like they just don't care anymore. Has he lost the locker room and the faith from the players that Nancy knows what the fuck he's doing to make him the right fit for the club?
That's a loaded question.
Because now keep in mind though, he was with Montreal for 3 years. Right? And then everything happened with their GM getting ready to go into that 4th year. And we never saw Nancy after a 4th year. We're going into that 4th year.
Yeah.
Didn't some of that have to do with the owner though too?
Yes.
I don't think we can leave that part out of it. I think the owner,
yes.
I mean, there was a lot of info coming out about the owner that I think was a toxic whole environment.
So what essentially happened was Nancy was asking, it's essentially what I feel like is happening, right? Nancy was asking for players, and GM ownership just wouldn't back him. Just wouldn't. This is what I was told, by the way. I can't remember who told me, but this is what I was told. The ownership GM just wouldn't back him and wouldn't, give him the necessary tools that he needs. Which is why it was kind of a toxic thing, because Nancy wanted Montreal. Montreal wanted Nancy, but didn't want Nancy, but didn't want to give Nancy the tools that were needed. Right. Essentially, Jerald, to your question, it's a loaded question, honestly. Yes, I do think he is still the right fit for Columbus. I also think that let's take a look at people above him. Okay. Excuse me. Let's take a look at Issa Tall. This is his first season as. I don't even think it's a full season. Is it? Is this full season as a GM?
And he's now. It'll be a year and a half.
Okay, this is his first full season as a GM. Tim Bezbatchenko had years of experience with Toronto FC before making the move to Columbus. Issa Tall was essentially Bez's protege, right? Learning under him for X amount of months, X amount of years, whatever you want to say. When given the keys to structure a roster, it's like given keys to a newly licensed driver on driving a Rolls-Royce exotic car, right? You think you know the ins and outs, but it's a lot more deeper. It's a lot more technical than what it is, than what you might have seen, right? Grabbing Cucho, grabbing anybody, Diego, grabbing who else can we say? Nagby, grabbing anybody else under Bez was all Bez. Issa Tall went and visited with these guys, though, on behalf of Bezbatchenko, on behalf of the Columbus Crew. Now that Issa Tall has all the keys to structure this roster, it can be a little bit more difficult than what it may have seemed like being the right-hand man to Tim Bezbatchenko. Now, let's also not forget that we tried to get Wissam Abu Ali in January, but Al Ali was holding out because of the FIFA Club World Cup. Understandable. This guy scored a perfect hat trick against FC Porto. Understandable. Yes, they're going to want to, pump the brakes on stuff and maybe not let any team in, or let a team in, but absolutely, excuse me, absolutely, play the long game, which is why it took so long, why we only got him for 7.5 when Al Ali was asking for 10 plus.
Yeah.
So there was a compromise there when we got him this past window. As for, I have and this is the part that gets me too. I feel like the one, and I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this. I feel like the one signing that was truly Issa Tall was Daniel Gazdag. Now, here's my butt. I feel like it was a decent deal. The reason why I say decent is because of the production. Now, yes, he is playing a whole different system, a whole different role. He's being asked to, do something that he was not given, that he was not told to do in Philadelphia under Jim Curtin, under Bradley Carnell. But at the same time, when you have Bezbatchenko doing a lot of calls, a lot of, scouting, a lot of all this, what essentially is Issa Tall doing as Bez's right-hand man? He's learning the ins and outs, right? Now, when you have everything and you have no right-hand man, it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? It's like me going from serving to an office job. and 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. That's going to be overwhelming as hell, right? But I think first year jitters, right, on actually structuring a good roster to compete for trophies, because we won a trophy in 23, we won a trophy in 24. To win a trophy in 25, you kind of have to keep that same caliber, but now you're doing it all by yourself. It's hard. And I get that. I understand that completely. I'm not mad at the guy. Do I think things could have been better? Yes. But at the same time, I understand that he is a human being trying his best, right? MLS is not FIFA FC 26. It's not FC 25, where you can just sit down, make up a fake price tag, and hope they go for it, right? This is a lot of negotiating. This is a lot of, selling the product, selling the city, selling the team, selling the facilities. This is a lot of selling everything. You're pitching something as opposed to just sitting there playing with a controller in your hand, hitting Y, going to 26 million and just saying, hey, okay, submit offer. No, you have to pitch everything. And other people are going after the same thing as well, right? It's a dog-eat-dog world. So whether you're in it to win it or just saying, hey, I'm here too, let's talk and, hopefully this goes well. I feel like that's what people are saying Issa Tall is doing. He's just throwing his hat in there instead of, going out and pitching the city, pitching the team, etc. And that's what's dragging everybody down. Now, for Nancy, on the other hand, this guy is trying his best with the limited resources that he has this season because of injuries, because it's still almost the same core roster from 23, right? I feel like after this year, if we get bounced in the wild card or, whatever, hell, even if we win the MLS Cup by surprise, somehow, some way, we are going to have more players want to come to Columbus. We're going to have more players on the roster. We're going to have depth, and everything's going to be back to normal like it was in 24 after we won the Cup in 23. Sorry for my long rant.
So, real quick, I know Derik wants to say it, but when it comes to the, is Nancy the right fit, and and Issa, when you're talking to, people are saying Issa's just throwing his name out there. I mean, it does make it kind of hard when a head coach is sitting there also playing GM too, and say, Issa brings players to, to Nancy and like, hey, I want to go get this one. No, I don't like him. No, I don't want him. And Issa has said that he's brought some players to Nancy and Nancy has turned them away. So how much of that part of Nancy turning away players that Issa wants to get, is Issa's fault? If he wanted to go out and get some of those stars that we saw, but Nancy's like, no, I don't want him. No, I don't like his style. How can we, put that on Issa, right? I just think, the reason for that comment and that question is it's one of those where I got a good answer for that one. Connor, I got, but I just think it's a 50-50 that Nancy is sort of playing GM in the background, right? While trying to manage the roster. And he said, and Nancy has stated over, like, he likes having a low roster because it makes players play other positions as well. Do you feel like that hurts those players when they have to, forget what their primary position is to go out and play the other ones? Tired it.
What? Where did Derik go? I did not kick Derik. I was. Oh, keep talking. I need to refresh real quick. Of course. Okay.
Okay. Do you think it hurts, the team that he wants to have a small roster to force others, to not really have that depth, like we see some of these other teams?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts the roster. Oh shit, my bad. I don't think it really hurts the roster more than it's more of a why. Like, give me a detailed description why. And that's something that, somebody would have to actually, if they can get the access, say, oh no. Oh shoot. I forgot to submit my ballot. Fudge. Sit down and actually pick his brain as to why he does certain things. Right? So it's gonna be one of those things where I want to be in the video room and have him teach me his way. Like, why do you do this? Why would you rather prefer a small roster than a big roster? Why would you prefer possession over
attack?
Yeah. And that's something me personally, I would much rather do that for my benefit than as a journalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like, okay, now I understand when I'm up in the box, I can now see and understand, and it clicks every time that somebody makes a pass, somebody does this, somebody does that. I don't think it hurts the team now, but I can see gears turning, right? And then, like, okay, maybe I understand, maybe I don't. And that might be discussions that they have in the offseason, or maybe a discussion that they've had recently. I don't know that. I'm not around the team 24/7. So it's for me, it's hit or miss.
And one last thing before Derik gets the answer.
Connor said, Derik's internet's acting up, guys. It's not me this time. Oh wait, it is me. My word. All right. Well, it's me. Whenever I'm not on Derik's internet is fine. Whenever I'm on, Derik's internet acts up for me.
So Connor asked the question: if we got rid of Nazi, if Nazi was to leave, who would I replace him with? 2 candidates: Herdman.
Oh,
and Curtin.
I knew you were going to say Curtin.
That is if he doesn't.
He's not going to coach next year.
He's not. He already pulled away from New England.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen that, but okay.
He cited personal, family reasons why he backed away from New England. Yeah. Tom. It was a Bogart bomb.
Okay.
But so he's not going to coach in 26 unless the right situation comes around. I.e., if Nati leaves Columbus, I feel Curtin would be the best fit. But I also think Herdsman, because Herdsman has a vision that involves getting more of the young talent involved, right? And that's something that we started to see with Nancy in 23, getting some of the young guys involved.
Yeah.
But then it just seemed like it went back to Porter of, we're not really going to get to the young ones, right? Because at this point, like me and Derik talked about last week, bring out the young guns. You got Tristan up there that's itching to get that game experience. We talked about getting Hugo more time. Well, he's getting more time now. And it's just one of those bring up the, if you got the young guys, what more, what more do you have to lose, right? I mean, you have a chance to get above the playoff, the play-in game, this weekend and next weekend, right? But at the same time, get those young kids going. And I think those two coaches, hell, you know what I would even do? I'd even say Steve Cherundolo.
LAFC fans would cry for us, probably.
Hey, taxes are cheaper than out in LA.
That's true.
You could still go to Worthington or Powell and find you a nice ass house like you have out in LA.
Dublin, Muirfield.
It's right on the golf course.
Yeah.
Tartan Fields. I mean,
I feel like Steve Cherundolo would be great for that after 27, 28, 29 exit from the playoffs or just barely missing the playoffs. Hell, Caleb Porter was fine with that after 2020.
But I'm just saying, like Steve, though, you never know. It might revitalize Steve's career, right? But honestly, the two coaches I think was John Herdsman and Phil, and Jim Curtin. But Derik, your take now.
I think that Nancy is the right coach. I think that he's the right coach for Columbus. Maybe not all of these players currently. And I think Connor mentioned it earlier. Some of the players look disengaged or kind of ready to pack it up. And I think that is a byproduct of when you have a unique system. He's said this a lot. You need everyone bought on board. And they had that when they won the championship. And even last year, we didn't win we were in all these finals and all this, we could have won. We didn't, whatever, that's fine. Or whatever year that was, going back to the Pachuca deal. But you know what I mean? Like, you had players bought in. I think that there's a combination of some players that have been here for a while that are now not so bought in the playing style, which that happens. Some people, it just all of a sudden doesn't become the best environment for you anymore, or playing style, whatever it may be. I think you have a combination also of some players that maybe aren't playing up to their potential this season. And I think if you're not playing up to your potential in a system like this, it's glaringly obvious because you're asked to do specific things. Now, on the other side, do I think some of these players, I think the idea of some of the players that were brought in, and this could be on Issa Tall, so I actually am okay with the two of them coming together on what players to be brought in because of the system that he implements. I don't think it's a good thing all the time, but in this given circumstance, I'm okay with it for now, at least. That could change. But sometimes when you think players, they could tell you they're in on the system. On paper, they look like they should be a good fit. That does not always mean that they're going to end up being a good fit. Sometimes things just do not work out. We're going to talk about it. I think there's going to be a heavy roster turnover. And I think that Issa Tall, maybe we'll see where that goes. But I think if you had to choose one or the other, I mean, I would argue you would want Nancy before. I don't think too many people disagree with that. You want to stay with Nancy. But I think there's some players also that Nancy had like it just as much as players. Some players maybe are like not into the system anymore. I think you have Nancy who some of the players, and we don't know what goes on in practice and stuff, that have fallen out of favor with Nancy. And one of them that I was going to mention earlier on, but Connor brought them up, Jason Russell-Rowe. I think that I don't know this. It's just pure speculation on my part, but if there's clear opportunities where we would think he should be getting playing time and he's not, I think that there is more to that than just him just choosing not to play him when he's a striker and been on the team for a while. I mean, he's been around the entire tenure of Nancy. It's not like they don't know each other and what he's capable of, but there's clearly a reason he's not playing. we'll probably never find that out unless somebody digs and gets more information on that. Feels like at times we have actually over the years kind of lost a little bit of access to things that go on within the organization. I don't know why that is, but it just seems like you hear less and less about certain things like that. I also want to say, though, that with this year in particular, and you have a very specific system like Nantes, I know that you have players that have been there for a while, but when you lose two very heavy goal contributing strikers at the very beginning of the season, when you had an off season, you were not planning around those two players leaving at that given time. I mean, you may have had a heads up, but I would imagine going into late December, early January, the thoughts in Nancy's mind was not that you were going to be without these two players when you're coming up with like ways to evolve this system. So when you lose those two and you're essentially starting a season without two of your top goal scoring threats, that inevitably is going to change how you have to approach certain things. And I think inevitably those types of things have unintended consequences, and those can ripple far throughout the season, regardless of if you bring in new guys, because one, you have Abu Ali who's been here for a cup of coffee and he's injured, unfortunately, but will certainly not be able to learn the system before next season. And you have Gazdag, who has taken much longer to learn the system than what we thought. And maybe our expectations of him are different than what their intentions of using him were. You have Diego, who hasn't had to be in that type of role since he was at LAFC. So that's been a while. And so I think you just have a lot of compounding factors that all go into it, where I don't think you should be basing your decision on getting rid of a coach who, personal opinion, easily one of our top coaches of all time, just based on performance and the years he's been here so far. I don't know that we can judge and try to say we need to make a move off of one season that in everybody's, out of no matter what's happened in any season outside of when we won the championship, it's been very underwhelming overall. And I think any coach who's ever been really good in any sport is inevitably going to have a season where they just aren't very good sometimes. And it's not, you don't just run the coach out of town. I mean, I guess you could do that, but that would seem to be a mismanagement from ownership all the way down if you're just doing that just because they have one bad season. Personal opinion.
I also feel like if crew fans were to run Nancy out of town after this year, then they would just be like this guy. Then they would just be essentially, I feel like, how Ohio State fans are. They expect perfection from the top down, and every time something goes wrong, it's sack this player or sack this coach, burn shit down to the ground or whatnot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But failing to understand the aspects of it, like we have had Nazi for 3 years. Teams have already caught on to what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I think there's been a lot of evidence of that in games too, for sure.
Now it's just, how can we take 2026 and change it while still doing the same thing? So it's and that's the one thing that that's one thing that is quite honestly starting to drive me away from the crew, is the fan base, honestly. And I'm not saying it's everybody. I know a lot of crew fans that would agree with a lot of things that I say, or a lot of things that we all say, right? But it's like, you can't expect perfection without accepting imperfection. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be flaws. We have to get over it. But at the same time, it's like, guys, teams have had it much worse than the Columbus Crew have it right now. Okay? So
if the year I'm going to another sport for a second, but this is like an example here that say like the Patriots and Tom Brady, the year that Tom Brady got injured, I forget what it was, out the entire season. And they had Matt Castle come in, and they did well enough with Matt Castle, but certainly were nowhere near what that bar would have been. Now imagine, and I'm not comparing any of our players to Tom Brady, obviously, but just for the sake of like using a superstar and a very notable example is now imagine if they had multiple injuries for starters, and then everyone was like, well, this isn't the level that we need to be at, so we got to run Bill Belichick out of town. Like nobody was thinking that, or at least I'm sure there were people thinking that. I should backtrack, because in any sport, there's people who are a little too extreme on their feelings and their fandom. I get fandom stands for fanatics, but a little too crazy on that part. But you can't just like assume that one bad season is indicative of like your entire team just going into the dumps. Like it typically, this is not just like an initial writing on the wall. Like maybe for this season and how we anticipate they'll go into the playoffs, would love to be proven. Us all look really stupid on that. Be fantastic. But you can't just assume that because this season is going the way that it is, that now we're going to be never in the playoffs for the next 6 years. Like, I just think that's a little too much hyperbole involved with it. And to your point, Ty, I totally agree. Like, I do think that there's a level of like fandom, and I can't remember if it was last week or the week before we talked about this, where there's you could start to see a very fine line of when people, there are always going to be some that have been around the crew for a long time that are going to be very vocal and at times really negative. I mean, if you've been a crew fan long enough, you know that that's always the case, is with Ohio State, most teams in most sports. But you can see certainly a fine line between when people recently became crew fans and they're used to winning championships every season and everything, and one bad season to them is like literally spoiling their entire fandom and getting really toxic about it. And then you're seeing others who have seen a much longer progression where if you want to feel really bad in the dumps, just think back to, I think it was 2015 when we played Portland and we had that disastrous game. Like, there was no worse feeling than that, in my opinion. Like, that was the worst of the worst from what I can think of, just in pure like energy level all the way up to just the absolute bottom of the barrel of like feeling towards the team. Of course, that coincided with the ownership trying to move it, take all that aside. So I think that it almost takes like every individual person, like you have to compartmentalize that it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world. Now, there will be changes. There's always roster changes, and there will certainly probably be more notable changes this year than what we've seen in the past, but that's necessary in this game. I mean, it happens all the time, and it's inevitable that it will continue to happen. None of our favorite players, I loved Pipa, and then when he didn't get to retire here, I could not have been more annoyed with the entire thing. Or I liked Pedro Santos. He didn't get to retire here. Like, these players that you really love. And
Pipa retired here.
Did he?
He signed a 1-day contract.
No, okay. You know what I mean, though. Like, I'm not counting that. Now, you know what I mean? Like, playing his final year in Columbus, not the 1-day thing. Yeah. But I was, you know what? Is kind of hokey as it is in terms of just like a gimmick thing, like I'm totally like down when people do that. I think it's like, that's cool, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, your favorite players, inevitably, if they get to retire here, amazing. But like, they're going to move on most likely. Your coaches move on. You have to like understand that that's going to be part of it. And it is, you know, there are going to be highs and lows of any sport fandom. No team has been a, what am I thinking? Like a dynasty, especially in MLS, for like 10 straight years. Like, even the best teams, like some of the like pundits would say were the best of all time, literally won like what, maybe 2-3 in the span of like 5 or 6 years, and then they didn't win anymore after that. Or maybe like every once in a while they're up in a championship game. I think there's just a lot of, you have to be able to like understand that there's going to be highs and lows in every aspect of this sport, any other sport anyone follows. The college football fans, a little bit different because they are the next level of crazies, but you got to hate that aspect of that.
Last thing for me, I literally heard a guy today at work say, Ohio State's my number one team. Nobody can take that away. But they're the one team that will, whether they win or lose, will dictate my mood for the rest of the day. And I sat there, I'm like, man, that's why. That explains a lot.
I was like that in
Ohio State
college.
fans.
I was like that in college for 4 years, and I like when I graduated. No, it wasn't even. It was my senior year. We lost to somebody. I don't remember who, but anyways, I literally had to like have like a mental conversation with myself to say, you are literally letting the rest of your night, weekend be ruined by something that you had zero control over what the outcome was. Like, I'm just excited that I'm rooting for a team that is consistently in recent memory good and has a potential to win a championship, because there's only one that can win one every season. And you just odds are stacked against you at the beginning of every season to actually win that championship.
Well, I guess.
Sorry, Jerald. That was a long.
I feel like we talked ourselves into a full, like, somewhat remotely positive vibe off of all of that, though. I mean,
yeah, we did.
I mean, I got people wanting to unsubscribe to our channel because of my question.
I think it's a fair question because people are asking it online, and you're getting.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we just didn't like touch on some topics that seem a little out there when it comes to what people are talking about. But there's a lot of like volatility in it. I always joke about it. The Crew fans always go, you know that the Crew season is not in full form until all the Crew fans are going after each other with hot takes, and Ohio State's the same way typically too. So those are two in particular that I feel like, at least in the Columbus sphere, you know that like you're really in the thick of a season.
I'm trying to hold off until Ty comes back because this is his next segment that I wanted to introduce.
Oh yeah.
But he had to go do something real quick. So, but no, I mean everything. You guys, everybody hit everybody. Hit the question right on the head. I mean, it has showed over the last weeks that I believe Nazi has lost the locker room. And I don't know if it's because of him refusing to keep the same tactic, but change the format. I think it's also that, with his system, he wants to change players' playing styles to fit his system instead of making the system fit the playing styles, right? And I think that's where a lot of pushback has come from, a lot of chaos and confusion, and we see it on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get having players play, multiple positions. I get it, but at the same time, you got to know when to, okay, this is not working. Who can I put there? When you got some of the young talent like Caesar and Jason and, Tristan, or whoever else you called up, Chase Adams, it's, you gotta, this late in the season, let them, put them out there, right? See what they got, see what they need to work on, and go from there, right? What 2 games left in the season. What else can what else do you have to lose? You went from being a top four team to now to a playing game. Like, seriously, like, yes, the injury bug has plagued us, right? But it took you forever to see that Patrick is in his head to make the switch at keeper and put Bush in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got 2 of your top strikers out, and you're not playing a forward. You're not putting a 9 in. You put Sadich in. Nothing wrong with Sadich and all that, but come on now. You should have put a 9 in there. And if you don't want to use Jason, then you put Aliu in. Fine. But have a 9 there.
Mm-hmm.
that's how you become predictable when you see that, when coaches see that lineup, like, oh shit, there's no forward. Oh yeah, we about to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you don't let the players play the way that their playing style that fits them, you hinder those players, right? You hinder them to where they start thinking too much instead of just doing.
Yeah.
Right. Gazdag, right? You have him out there, you could tell he's like, oh shit, what do I'm supposed to be playing this role. What do I do now?
And he's not been around, I think, and I've mentioned, this a few times. I don't think he's been. I think it's taking him longer to adjust the system, which I understand, being in Philadelphia and having a totally different one for as long as he did. But you're right. Like, now with these injuries, he might be feeling the pressure to now act as a 9 in a system that he hasn't gotten totally comfortable in the other role that he's actively supposed to be in, to then move to being the scoring threat. It may not be as easy as just assuming that he can do that because he's a really good player. Like, at times, not everyone can just do that.
I mean, but at the same time, though, if he feels like that, then you play Jason.
Yeah, I think
you put Jason in there to be that, that high forward instead of the middle forward, right? And because I think that's what he's doing, is he's putting Gazdag at that high forward position where Cucho was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's putting it all on Daniel's back when really it should be on Jason's. And, because he's been here for 3 years, he knows the system.
Mm-hmm.
So you would want to put it on his back and tell him, go have fun. Right? But instead, there's behind the scenes beef, it seems like, between, Nancy and some other players, that you're seeing the production on the field is that there's a disconnect in training. There's a disconnect in, game prep, that it's flowing over, to the field and, in game form.
Yeah.
So welcome back.
I'm not gonna lie, I also got food.
I got a new segment in the show, and it's called Around Town, the Columbus Soccer Scene. So as most of you guys know, one Ty Fisher is the social media manager for the Ohio Dominican soccer team. So how are those Fighting Panthers doing out there, both men and women? Oh, that bad?
No, it really hasn't been that bad. Women, I can't remember what they are. I think they're 1-3 in the conference.
Oof.
Their tie came against, 0-3-1. One lost tie. Their tie came against Lake Erie. The boys are 2-2 in the conference. 3-1 win over Walsh, followed by a 3-0 loss to Lake Erie. Followed that up to a 3-0 win over Ashland University, and then a 5-1 loss to Findlay last weekend.
Oof.
Yeah, the women, I want to say, their tie came against Lake Erie. They lost 2-0 to Ashland. They lost 4-0 to Findlay. And they lost 2-0 to Walsh.
Yeah, you guys don't like Lake Erie.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Well, if they would just invite us to do the show in the press box, we would bring the good mojo. We've been saying it. If you need the spark to turn the team around, we're here.
Live from Panther Field.
Right.
Not gonna lie, it would be awesome.
Yeah. They both do have a game this Saturday against Kentucky Wesleyan. Girls play
my favorite.
Girls play at 5:30. Men play at 8.
That's the team, Derik, that last year I went to the game. It was senior night. And when you look at their roster, it's like just sitting there looking
it's a lot of internationals.
Seriously, like you had Russian, Ukrainian, Asian, and it's just like, well, damn, what's Christmas dinner look like with this team? Like, and you got a little bit of salsa mixed with some vodka,
That sounds like it'd be cool. That sounds like a dinner I want to be invited to.
Italian wine with some Kentucky bourbon, I mean, like, geez, but it was a good game that I saw last time I went out. But that is the new segment around town, the Columbus soccer scene. Final one for Crew 2 is, believe this Sunday. They did change the location. It is now at lower.com field at 1:00. I think that's their final match of the year. I do think their last game was Saturday, and it was a heck is plausible. And it literally came down to the 95th minute, and FC Cincinnati 2 scored and won the game 3-2. Yeah, like it was a brutal loss for people in them. But I mean, hey, this season wasn't gonna be like the last three seasons or last 2 seasons, right? It's something. Yeah, the last 3 seasons. I'm sorry. But it's something that, now people and Josh sees what needs to happen. Next Pro did get a new GM, commissioner. Charles Alcheck, whatever the hell his name is, has now moved up into somewhere further in MLS. This was being reported by Don Garber on his official Twitter page. And then I forget something Charles Ali or something like that takes over as the president or commissioner of Next Pro. So, there might be some changes coming to Next Pro, but, as far as Crew 2 goes, it's a new system that they were trying to put in to fit, people was trying to fit his style in with the system. We'll see how it is next year. And that is soccer around town. Up next, it's going to be a quick preview because House of Mouse. We go down to the House of Mouse down there in Orlando City to take on the Lions and the Musketeers. So I'm going to start it off since Ty hasn't been here for a little bit. What's your keys to victory?
Me or Derik?
I said Ty.
Oh, you said since I haven't been here in a while. I thought you were just gonna do what I do and just ask Derik. My bad. Put the ball in the back of the net more times than the other team.
Love that. That's a strategy right there. That is a good game strategy. I like that.
Okay, Charlie Brown.
To the point.
I mean, that's definitely a key. Put the ball in the net more times than the other team. I mean, I have no idea. I haven't watched any MLS. I honestly feel like now is when you need to put your best foot forward, right? So I think outpossess Orlando. We all know how Oscar Pereira likes to play. More man-to-man, aggressive. Kind of getting under, the skin and whatnot, be those aggressors and stuff like that. I think if cooler heads prevail, just outpossess them to death, make them run, make them chase the game. Make sure we're ball to feet, 2-touch, 3-touch passing if necessary in the final third. And shoot. Just shoot the ball. Honestly. I don't care if it's from downtown, like Lucas Zeller on it against Chicago that one year.
Oh,
just shoot the ball. Just shoot the ball. At least make some sort of attempt.
Hey, right? I photobombed that as they were going to the locker room, him and Nagby. I was in that photo, damn it.
Just shoot the ball. Make them work. Even if it's off target, make guys say go for it. Right? Just do something with the ball. Honestly.
Derik?
If we beat Orlando, we would jump them in the standings. So
really?
There's still a lot at stake at that. Yeah, they're only 2 ahead of us. So, I mean, is it 2? Yes. 2. They're only 2 ahead of us. So you can't go in and just look for a tie. I'm not saying that they've done that previously, but that's been primarily the outcome other than, last week. But we were talking about it earlier. I think if Nancy gets the inkling to play some of the younger guys, get them some experience, see what you got with them, I don't have a problem rolling them out at the beginning of the game. Now, I think you get 60 minutes into the game and you have a chance to win this thing, then you got to roll out the normal guys. You got to figure it out. And I think you got about 1.5 weeks, because I think the final week you do not want to end up, regardless of what we think is going to happen, in theory, you do not want to go into the last week and then lose. So you want to try to build some kind of momentum. You really only have 2 games, obviously, and I don't necessarily think winning the last game only and going into the playoffs is going to get you that confidence you need. I think you have to win this game. I mean, realistically, tie, to everything you said, whether it be down to just shooting the ball and putting it in the net. I don't like the idea of passing a bunch in the box, mainly because I feel like the second half of the season, we've been doing a ton of that and it has not worked for us. But we all know run of play is not to be expected, to say the least. Do not mortgage your house on the run of play by any stretch of the imagination. However, I do think that if they're start Jason Russell Rowe, then if there is no beef and maybe it was all tactical and everything, great, whatever, let's see him play. Put him out there. There couldn't be worse results than what we've been getting, other than if we would have lost them all. So there's no reason not to in that sense. But I think, the last 2 games where we get a really good idea of where that relationship stands for one reason or another. We'll never find out the actual reason, but in general, I think it's a winnable game. I think Orlando plays tough and everything, like you said, but if we outpossession them and make them run around like crazy, there's absolutely an opportunity to still win the game. And I did see that Diego Rossi's been practicing with the team. I don't see a chance that he is going to start. Now, maybe if they feel like he's good enough, they throw him in really late just to get some, game experience on those legs. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. But I think you have options, and I think it's a winnable game. And if there was ever a time when you're the person who we're playing is ahead of us, who's our last game against again?
Red Bulls.
Okay, they're already out. So They got nothing to play for other than they can't even knock us out of the playoffs. So like that might be a game where you can really like just build up confidence potentially. But like this is one where you're like, this is somebody who you can jump ahead of. There's really all the motivation should be there before the game on winning this game. I mean, I can't really pick like even a player that I think needs to step up because I think they all do in one way or another. I would like to see Gazdag get a goal, if not two of them.
Good shit. Good shit. Does Bush start this Saturday?
Yeah, I almost think you have to.
Derik called me the Oracle because last week I did say Bush should be the starter over Schulte.
You've been pretty good at calling some of these changes that have been made. I mean, but I guess my thing is like, yeah, you probably should because out of the two games, this one's far more important. And then if you want to give Schulte a chance against a team that doesn't have anything to play for versus us who's going into the playoffs, maybe you play him in that one. You have to make a decision though, because like you're going to get into the playoffs and then are you going to start Schulte after he hasn't played for 3 games? I don't know that I love that idea. And are you just going to play Bush? That seems kind of wild too, but maybe that you just ride whatever. I would say that, but also Bush let in 2 goals. So it isn't like he played so well that you have to play him over Schulte at this point. I mean,
hey, he stood on his head though with some of those saves that he was making. I honestly think that the way Schulte is in his head right now, it would have been 5-6-0.
But would you bench him the rest of the season in the playoff game? Because if you're not going to, when do you put him back in?
I think you put him in for Red Bulls. Okay. But I think you let Evan get to start this Saturday against the House of Mouse. But I just think if it's a complete shutout and the Crew dominate Orlando, you're almost like, do you start Schulte against New York, right?
Yeah, which I mean, I think it for sure.
Yeah, but as the preview, the favorite part of the show, predictions for the game. Go ahead, Derik, get yours out the way because I know Ty's might be hotter than mine.
I mean, every time I've been like, roses are red, sky is blue, everything is all rainbows and butterflies. It's not gone well for my predictions. I want to imagine that they can pull off a win here. I really do. I want them to do it. I have a lot of doubts if they can do it just based on run of play so far or performance. So I'm just going to go the easy route and say a tie. I hate doing that because I don't want it to be a tie, but I'm going to say like I'm going to go 1-1 just because that's what they've traditionally been recently for our games. But I don't like to say that. It pains me to say that.
Tie.
Probably going to go 2-0 Orlando.
Makes sense.
It's on track, on par for us.
All right. Get ready for this one.
4-0 Orlando. He's probably going to say.
I didn't say 3-0.
I think they get back on track.
Oh, look at that! That is a bit of a curveball thrown at us here.
And I think it's a 3-2 win.
Dude, please. Please.
It's possibly a 3-1 win, but I think, we've seen the games with Orlando in the past. It's been, 3-2, 4-3, 5-2, or a 5-3, a 5-4 win, and, in sudden death. I think it could be a 3-2 or even a 2-1 win for Columbus. I think they get back on track. because people are fighting for jobs next year.
Yeah.
And when we get to this one real quick, it's going to be a quick one because somebody might have Apex to play.
Quite honestly, I'm watching the Dodgers Reds right now, hoping that I can win this $20.
Who'd you bet on?
Dodgers.
Yamamoto to have 7+ strikeouts,
Dude.
Shohei to get 1 hit, and Freddie Freeman to have a hit.
I hope you lose your bet. As a Reds fan.
No, hold on. What I will say is they surpassed the odds this year.
Yeah.
New coach. I think Francona just got him in there by their chin hairs, but I'm not mad if they lose, right? I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
They made the postseason for the first time in years, right? Now you build on that next year. So, real quick on this one, because I know that game is sort of looking interesting, but we got this.
It just started, so.
And I'm going to put this one front and center.
Sorry. I got you. Hang on.
Damn it, that was standing.
Trying to pull up the roster, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is it on it?
Yeah. I'm just trying to zoom in so that way we can see.
All right.
There we go. Maybe. There we go.
All righty. So we got the roster up here. When you fellas take a look at this, who stays, who's gone?
Is there typically, I should have asked this beforehand, so my apologies, but is there typically like an amount that go versus stay? Because we don't have an expansion thing this year. And in the past few years, there's been expansion and who can you protect and all that.
Wait, say that again?
Like, sorry.
Like, do you mean like does the team have to be at a certain number?
Yeah.
I think it's like 30 something. It might be lower than that, but I think it's like 30 something. I think it's like 30, 34.
As a full roster, though, right? Like not going into an off season. Okay.
Yeah, no, as a full roster.
Okay. I could probably be pretty quick with this and looking down it. Hagen stays. Herrera stays. Rudy leaves. Nagby stays. Shambo stays. Gazdag stays. Abu Ali stays. Rossi. I'm going to predict Rossi leaves, but we can always revisit this. And I think there was enough smoke around that like I could see that maybe happening. I would not be surprised. I'll say that. Who is it? Aliu. Oh, man. I think that he's probably going to go. I think that he's been given a longer leash than AZ, but I see it feels like the same type of thing where it doesn't work and they don't have him stick around longer. Sajic leaves. Taha stays. Amundsen stays. Jason Russell Rowe, I think he leaves. Based on right now. Derek Jones, has he even played this year? I think he leaves.
I think so. I don't know.
Traburco, I'm going to say stays, but he's kind of in between. Romero stays. Farsi stays. I'm going to say stays. Evan Bush is like difficult. I'm going to say stays, but could retire. Sawatsky stays. Lapalainen. Gone, probably. Max, I would have said go. They re-signed him. Part of me thinks that they want to keep him longer and see what kind of move they can get for it. Like, what's the return they can get on him? But at the same time, like in the winter window, I could see him going because there was interest as well, and they'll just have re-signed him, so they'll get, they'll get a fair amount for him. But I think if they save him for next summer, it'd be easier for them because then teams will really put up money or whatever for him. So in general, I don't think he makes it through all the way next season. Either way for us.
Oh shit! I just realized Stas Lapkus and Cole Moraka have the same birthday.
That's wild. Actually, that's really wild. Patrick Schulte, I'm going to say stays. Is that cool? Morikawa stays. Picard stays. Morera stays.
Morikawa.
Whatever it says. It's not zoomed. That's a golfer, right? Sorry.
It's Morocco.
Yeah. Moroka stays. Picard stays. Steven Morera, I'm going to say stays. Lapkus, he'll probably stay. And then I can't see who's at the bottom. Tristan Brown stays. Ruvacabra stays. Not as many turnovers as I thought, but I think there's some names that people would be a little surprised about, but I would not be as surprised.
Are you the yours, Ty?
Hagen stays. Andreas stays, obviously, because we just signed him to a new loan. Camacho goes. Darlington stays. Dylan stays. Daniel stays. Abu Ali stays. Rossi gone. Aliu gone. Sadich gone. Taha gone. Malde stays. Jason gone.
Taha's gone, huh?
Derik gone. Yevon stays. Abraham gone. Mo gone. Evan gone. Sean stays. Lassie stays. Max stays. He just signed that extension. Patrick stays. Cole's gone. Hugo stays. Steven stays. Stas stays. Tristan stays. Ruvacaba stays.
So ours are pretty much the same, except for I don't remember who you said now.
I said.
Oh, Taha. You said.
Taha.
I think
said Taha stays. I said Amar. I said Amar's gone too.
Yeah. Okay.
And Abraham stay or Abraham gone.
So mine is Hagen stays. Herrera stays. Rudy retires.
7 strikeouts. What are you
doing? Darlington stays. Dylan stays. Daniel stays. Ali stays. Rossi is gone. Aliu gone. Amar gone. Taha stays. Malte, I think he leaves. Jason gone. I think he's.
I said that too.
Yeah, I think Jason's gone. Derik gone. Yevon stays. Romero goes. Farsi stays. Evan retires. Sean stays. Lassie goes. Max leaves. Schulte stays. Cole Morocco stays. He's back with the Colorado Switchblades or Switchbacks, where he won a USL championship last year. So I think he's getting that experience out there, but I think he comes back next year and, proves, why he deserves to stay with the team. Hugo stays. Steven. Ty, your mom's going to hate me, but I think Steven goes.
Oh, I'd hate that too.
Steven goes, Stas stays, Tristan stays, and Caesar stays. I think Steven could stay. He did sign a new contract at the end of 23, which I think that was like a 2 or 3 year contract. But I think Max is gone. I think even though he signed that new contract, that just ups the price tag.
Yeah.
For other teams to get him. I think, and that's the reason why they did it. Chess, not checkers. If there's, with Max being a hot player for the U.S. men's national team, European teams are, were chomping at the bit to get him for the contract, the price that he was at before. They turned down the Middlesbrough offer. They turned down Toulouse twice. So I think now you give him that new contract, it puts a higher price tag, and you might attract a bigger fish.
How cool would it be, though, to have a crew player playing in the World Cup? That'd be very cool. Hadn't happened in a long time.
I mean, it'd be cool, but at the same time,
right? I want to maximize potential. I get that. Yeah.
But Taha stays. I think he's just solidifying. He's getting his called up to the U20 team, and it's showing what he's about. I think he's showing growth. This season. Not getting bodied off the ball like he did in 24. And then he's bodying, Cincinnati. Who was it? DeAndre Yedlin. He bodied off of the ball. Like Yedlin.
Yeah.
So I think that's that. But I think Diego's gone. I think there's interest from South American teams for him. Hagen, I think, goes back to like the Guatemalan leagues, South American leagues, Central American teams. Romero is gone. And I did say Hagen actually stayed. Hagen stayed. Romero leaves. It's possible, hell, go get Drake Callender. Somebody, but that's that. That's that for the roster turnover. I guess we have to wait to see to the end of the season, right? Last one, burning desires. Anybody have any burning desires?
Like for the crew or in general?
In general.
Yamamoto to get 6 more strikeouts.
No, for the Reds to make it to the next round of the playoffs.
That ain't happening. I'm a Reds fan, and I'm telling you that. Now, after last night's game, I saw Hunter Green gave up 5 fucking home runs, or 3 home runs in 1 inning.
Not to turn this into a baseball podcast here, but my theory on the Reds, this is really good to get like their pitchers, especially like experience, because they don't really have anybody on the team who has like some good playoff experience. I mean, just overall. So whatever happens, I think it is good for the future of the team. And then please sell the team to another owner who is willing to spend more money. That's my real burning desire.
Hey, if they sell the team would be moving.
No, I don't think so.
I'm
not as fearful of that as I don't live in Cincinnati. I'm sure there's a hotter,
with Kentucky and Tennessee trying to get an MLB team. If somebody
Kentucky has one, it's the Reds.
No, they don't play in Kentucky.
We joke about FC Cincinnati playing in Kentucky.
They do play in Kentucky.
Listen, Kentucky has the Louisville Bats, okay? And that's all they need. Just don't worry. We're not talking about it, okay? They're not moving anywhere. That's all we need to know. Save
the Reds.
No, don't. We can't. I mean, we can't go through that again. Please do not. I can't.
Did the Braves make it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's why I'm asking. So, well, that's the wrap, fellas. Hour and 23 minutes. It's been fun, hanging out with you guys once again. Season's almost over. Should be over, but the season's almost over.
About mid-December, we'll have a wrap-up show after we are hoisting the championship.
The participation trophy?
Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to end it on a good note here, guys. Come on.
Well, but hey. That's it. That's it, folks. Another live episode of the Wisemen Say podcast is in the books. You can go check out all of our shows on your YouTube channel. You can go to Spotify and listen to all the past episodes and current episode shortly, probably later this week. You can find us on all our social media platforms. Let me get back to this so they can see our lovely. Oh, they don't do it. Oh, well. Ties in front of the overlay that has all of our all of our places
Stitcher,
out. There we go.
Pocketcast.
You can find us on iHeart, Amazon, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Ghost TV, Spotify, YouTube. You can find us on our Blue Sky tag, which I do not know.
At Wisemen Pod, I believe.
And you can find us on Twitter at Wiseman Pod. You can catch Derik on social media
At Funky Moses 17.
The lovely Tyler Fisher.
At Fisher Tyler __.
And you can catch this handsome fella on Twitter at Jerald _Lucas96. Real quick, fellas. 11 days into the wedding.
Yeah, early congrats.
When is it again?
October 12th.
12th.
It's a Sunday.
I
gave you the invitation.
I know, and I just keep
next Sunday.
No,
not next Sunday. It's the Sunday after.
Well, it depends on what you consider next Sunday. This coming Sunday.
Yeah, I got
and then next Sunday, right?
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can give that shift up for work. For some reason, my
old best friend cannot remember my wedding.
Yeah, it's in my calendar too.
It didn't have the two words Las Vegas.
That's where I'll be.
When?
From
next weekend.
Mm-hmm. You're going. Where are you staying at?
Treasure Island.
Ooh.
I guess we had some good deals, so couldn't pass it up.
Our mateys. I still want a wedding gift from y'all. Damn it.
Hey, we're obligated, right? I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's probably watching right now too, so.
She's like, you said yes. You said you were going to do
it. No, but it's been great, y'all. To all the lovely fans out there, you can go to our Spotify bio and click on the supporter link. If you want to donate, you can. Every penny goes back into making sure our subscription licenses are paid for, travel when we do go to away games, and just different technology to bring you guys the crew content that you guys so deserve. So with that being said, the role is being reversed. Ty, Wiseman say.
That's it. The role's being reversed. Only fools rush in.
Yeah, peace out, y'all. Hug your loved ones. Cherish every moment and go crew.
Go crew.